Niagara Falls is very nice. It's like a large version of the old bond sign on Times Square. I'm very glad I saw it because from now on, if I'm asked whether I have ever seen Niagara Falls, I can say yes and be telling the truth for once. When I told my advisor that I was going to Erie, Pennsylvania, I had no idea of going there, but as it turned out, I was. My intention was to creep across the neck of Ontario, bypassing not only Erie, but Cleveland and Toledo. I find out of long experience that I admire all nations and hate all governments, and nowhere is my natural anarchism more aroused than at national borders where patient and efficient public servants carry out their duties in matters on immigration and customs. I have never smuggled anything in my life. Why then do I feel an uneasy sense of guilt on approaching a customs barrier? I crossed a high toll bridge and negotiated a no man's land and came to the place where the Stars and Stripes stood shoulder to shoulder with the Union Jack. The Canadians were very kind. They asked where I was going and for how long, gave Rocinante a cursory inspection, and came at last to Charley.
Such feelings coming over me. There is wonder in most everything I see. Not a cloud in the sky, got the sun in my eyes, and I won't be surprised if it's a dream. Everything I want the world to be is now coming true, especially for me. And the reason is clear, it's because you are here. You're the nearest thing to heaven that I've seen.
Woof woof! Do you have a certificate of rabies vaccination for the dog? No, I haven't. You see, he's an old dog. He was vaccinated long ago. We advise you not to cross the border with him then, eh? But I'm just crossing a small part of Canada and re-entering the U.S. We understand, eh? You can take him into Canada, but the U.S. won't let him back. But technically, I am still in the U.S., and there's no complaint. There will be if he crosses the line and tries to get back. Well, where can I get him vaccinated? They didn't know. I would have to retrace my way at least 20 miles, find a vet, have Charley vaccinated, and then return. I was crossing only to save a little time, and this would wipe out the time saved and much more. Please understand, it's your own government. Not ours. We are simply advising you it's the rule. I guess that's why I hate governments. All governments. It is always the rule, the fine print, carried out by fine print men. There's nothing to fight, no wall to hammer with frustrated fists. I highly approve of vaccination. I feel it should be compulsory. Rabies is a dreadful thing, and yet I found myself hating the rule and all governments that made rules. It was not the shots, but the certificate that was important. And it usually is so with governments. Not a fact, but a small slip of paper. These were such nice men, friendly and helpful. It was a slow time at the border, and they gave us a cup of tea, and Charley half a dozen cookies. And they seemed genuinely sorry that I had to go to Erie, Pennsylvania for the lack of a paper. And so I turned about and proceeded towards the Stars and Stripes and another government. Exiting, I had not been required to stop, but now the barrier was down. Are you an American citizen? Yes, sir. Here's my passport. Do you have anything you want to declare? I haven't been away. Have you a rabies vaccination certificate for your dog? Woof woof. He hasn't been away either. But you are coming from Canada. I have not been in Canada. I saw the steel come into his eyes, the brows lower to a level of suspicion. Far from saving time, it looked as though I might lose much more than even Erie, Pennsylvania. Will you step into my office? This request had the effect on me of a Gestapo knock on the door might have. It raises panic, anger, and guilty feelings whether or not I have done wrong. My voice took on the strident tone of a virtuous outrage, which automatically arouses suspicion. Please step into my office. I tell you, I've not been in Canada. If you were watching, you would have seen that I turned back. Step this way, please, sir. Yup. New York license, so-and-so? Yes. Yep. Pickup truck with camper top? Yes. A dog. What kind of dog is that? Poodle. Poodle? I said poodle. Light brown, yep. Blue. Light brown. Okay. Thanks. They saw you didn't cross the line. That's what I told you. May I see your passport? Why? I haven't left the country. I'm not about to leave the country. But yeah, here you go. Yep. Wait, what is this? I don't know. Let me see it. Oh, that. Why, it's a telephone number. What's it doing in your passport? I don't know. I guess I didn't have a slip of paper. I don't even remember whose number it is. Don't you know it's against the law to deface a passport? I'll just erase it. You should not write anything in your passport. That's the regulation. Fine, I won't ever do it again, I promise. And I wanted to promise him I wouldn't lie or steal or associate with persons of loose morals or covet my neighbor's wife or anything. He closed my passport firmly and handed it back to me. I'm sure he felt better having found that telephone number. Suppose after all his trouble, he hadn't found me guilty of anything, and on a slow day. Thank you, sir. May I proceed now? Go ahead. He waved his hand kindly. And that's why I went towards Erie, Pennsylvania, and it was Charley's fault. Ruff, ruff. I crossed the high iron bridge and stopped to pay the toll. The man leaned out the window. Go on, he said. It's on the house. How do you mean? I seen you go through the other way a little while ago. I seen the dog. I knew you'd be back. Why didn't you tell me? Nobody believes it. Go ahead. You get a free ride one way. Thank you. Ruff, ruff, ruff. It wasn't government, you see. But government can make you feel so small and mean that it takes some doing to build back a sense of self-importance. Charley and I stayed at the grandest auto court we could find that night, a place only the rich could afford. A pleasure dome of ivory and apes and peacocks, and moreover, with a restaurant. I ordered ice and soda and made a scotch and another. Then I had a waiter in and bespoke soup and steak and a pound of raw hamburger for Charley. And I overtipped mercilessly. Before I went to sleep, I went over all the things I wished I had said to that immigration man, and some of them were incredibly clever and cutting.